And we begin this hour with the breaking news. A U.S. official tells me that last month, a sailor on the USS Abraham Lincoln went overboard. That official says the sailor was quickly rescued from the waters and was medically evaluated. The official goes on to say that the circumstances are not immediately clear, and it's unclear if that sailor returned to duty or was evacuated from the ship. But all of this comes as CNN has learned that several Democratic lawmakers are demanding answers after families of sailors aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln expressed major concerns about deteriorating living conditions and worsening mental health amid a record number of days at sea. Several outlets, including the Military Times, report that there have been multiple crew members who have tried to jump overboard, citing interviews with sailors and families. The USS Abraham Lincoln left San Diego in November. It's home to roughly 5,000 sailors, Marines. You also have the air wing with the pilots. It's been away for more than 250 days. That's a record deployment amid the war with Iran, given the limited regular port calls. Last month, I had the opportunity to spend a few days aboard the USS Abraham Lincoln as it sailed through the Arabian Sea. And I was able to see firsthand the living conditions on board the ship and speak with several sailors about their experience and the psychological toll. What have been some of the challenges, being out here at sea for so many consecutive days?
Honestly, the only thing challenging is like mental challenges, like trying to manage my sleep, stuff like that.
What are you most looking forward to when you get home?
Seeing my family, my brother, my dad, my mom.
What do you want American people to know about you and the other sailors on board this ship and the work you're doing?
Don't be scared. You're part of the best Navy, and you're going to be safe.
It's definitely hard. I think there's some resources now that help out a lot. I think the Wi-Fi has been huge.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's tough when you're doing operational stuff. You got to kind of bring that down. But being able to text my wife every day, get pictures, it's been huge.
I miss both my daughters, Everly and Eloise. Daughter turned 4 while I was out here, and I have an almost 2-year-old back home, so just miss both them.
Then I miss my family, and I'm ready to go home. It's like, when you wake up and you're like, this is like another day. It's like, oh my God, again,
So does that feel like Groundhog Day?
Yes, Groundhog is literally every single day. Same thing every day, yeah.
I wish I could tell you it's a blast, but it's pretty repetitive work. So it's hard, it's hard on your mental state, being out to sea for 8 months without being on dry land. It takes a toll on you. You have to mind your P's and Q's even when the days are long and you're not running a lot of sleep. Sometimes the sleep is rough out here. You try to rest as much as you can. I hope one day we can make it back.
They will make it back. I told them they will make it back to land. When that will be is unclear. With us now, our Navy veteran Natalie Oliverio, Pentagon correspondent for the Military Times, and Keith Hotle, CEO of Stop Soldier Suicide. Good morning to you both. Natalie, I want to go to you first. I want to read the statement that a U.S. official gave me and then discuss on the other side of it. So this statement says, quote, "We have not observed an increase in suicidal ideations or attempts aboard the ship. We take every service member's well-being seriously and have religious, medical, and mental health professionals available to assess and address concerns as they arise." You have some new reporting that talks about multiple USS Abraham Lincoln sailors who have tried to go overboard during this extended deployment, according to their family members, including a woman who said her husband had some issues and was put on medical hold. So talk to me about all of that, if you would.
Thanks so much for having me, Pamela, and thank you for covering this important story. The families are hearing alarming reports from their loved ones, attempts that were unsuccessful, thankfully. However, the underlying reason why sailors are being pushed past their threshold is the real question. So the response from the Navy, citing that there has been no increase in attempts, but we're unsure of what that baseline looks like. What's the window of reporting, and where were we before we didn't see an increase? So I fully believe that the sailors' well-being is the utmost importance, and combat operations definitely make that more complex, as you well know. However, these families don't know that. They don't get a manual on how to process, how to deal with the fear of deployment on its own. Then getting a phone call that your spouse reached their breaking point is absolutely terrifying for these family members.
Oh, absolutely. And I've been hearing from a lot of the family members as well from my time on board and after. They want their loved ones home, right? Keith, when I was on the Lincoln, I was just struck by how honest these sailors were. When I was there, it actually crossed the threshold into setting the record for the longest days at sea without a typical port visit. And so pretty much all the sailors I spoke to, I asked them, like, how is the morale? How are you doing? How tough is it to be out here for so long at sea? So let's take a listen to what some of them said.
How do you keep the morale up when you have to do work like that feels repetitive day in, day out? You've been at sea for so long.
Thank you. That's a great question. And actually, I would say morale's pretty low, and not just in the division, like in the ship entirely. Personally, what helps me is I go to the gym. I'm trying to better myself, every day, but it's hard.
Each deployment, it's kind of like there's different challenges. First deployment is about 8.5 months. We didn't have Wi-Fi at first, right? We hit 4 ports. Second deployment, we got Wi-Fi, but no ports, and this one's been kind of the same. Each deployment, like I said, different challenges.
It's been the longest deployment in terms of consecutive days, I'm told. So very short port visits, not equaling a full day, means all of these days at sea. What has that been like?
Just getting the brief stop in Guam early on in deployment, and then this last stop. I had duty the first day, so I didn't get off the first day. Second day, just had a handful of hours, so it felt like the first port visit. But it's been, I think, an okay deployment for the most part.
So you see there are different reactions based on folks I spoke to. And I will say one of the differences that was pointed out in almost every interview was the fact that they do have Wi-Fi. It's not always great. They are at sea, but that is a difference in this deployment. I'm wondering, Keith, what factors about a deployment contribute to this feeling of burnout? And how common is it to hear about service members trying to end their lives while on their deployment, particularly one like this where they're on an aircraft carrier out at sea for so long?
Yeah, I think it's terrible to hear these stories about low morale and some of the family stories, but I would say it's entirely expected when you consider the environment under which they're operating. I mean, it's a fraught situation to be on an aircraft carrier with 5,000 people, largely confined below decks, with your sleep being disrupted, anxiety. I mean, it's a risk factor in and of itself. And then when you consider some of the reporting around the shipboard conditions and the lack of food and some of the other challenges they're going through, I think that really creates an environment where you would expect morale to be low. You would expect anxiety and mental challenges to rise, and then suicidal ideation and behaviors as well. And I think one of the amplifying factors in all this is, as you noted in the intro, the length of this deployment and the amount of time at sea. Certainly, even on a big ship, you feel isolated from family. You lack that kind of constant support. You're homesick. Mm-hmm. And then I think one of the other confounding factors is simply the fact they don't know when they're coming home.
Yeah. And
so, that kind of uncertainty can create a situation where you feel really helpless and despairing. And that really is, a red flag for suicide risk.
And I actually talked to some of the those in charge on board, and they told me that they had said before, we're going to come home by this date or this date, and then they surpassed that. And so they didn't want to give false hope again. That was sort of a lesson that they learned. But the uncertainty is really tough. They also tell me about the resources they have. I saw some of them when I was on board the Abraham Lincoln. They say they have a chaplain, several chaplains actually, and they have a psychologist. They have this therapy dog. His name is Captain Fathom, and he was adorable. I had the privilege of meeting him right here, as you see. How much has the Navy stepped up in terms of offering those mental health resources on board these aircraft carriers, and where do you see the gaps, Keith?
Well, I mean, I think across all the different branches, they're doing the best they can in terms of offering mental health support and resources. I would flag, though, for those in service, raising your hand and identifying yourself at risk. There's a stigma around that, and there's also fear of what those repercussions might look like, even though your leadership may be reassuring you that everything is confidential and it won't affect your job or your privileges. So, I would say if I could charge the military with more, is just recognizing that being mentally well is part of being mission ready, and trying to bring to bear some of the resources that can help these individual sailors and soldiers in the other branches to be able to deal with that stress when the moment comes and you're really struggling with things. And there are practices and mindfulness and things that you can actually learn that are skills to get you through those really difficult times.
And Natalie, I want to bring you back into this conversation because you've been talking to so many family members. I spoke to several sailors and pilots who have had children born during this deployment that they've never met. Let's take a listen to one of them.
What kind of toll does that take on you personally?
It's tough. I said I had my first kid born in February, so
wow.
Very excited to get home, meet her.
You've never met your daughter?
Nope.
So she was born right around when this conflict started.
Luckily, she was born February 6th, so I was able to get on FaceTime, watch the birth, talk to my wife before everything went down.
So that's obviously been a dynamic, Natalie. I'm wondering what you're hearing from the family members when it comes to just children being born, their loved ones not meeting them. And also, I want to get your reaction to what this U.S. official told me today in terms of the length of the deployment. This person I spoke to said that actually, when you look at the data that they have, and again, not everything is reported to them, but what they have reported is that suicidal ideations have actually gone down, not up. So this official basically said that typically right after a ship leaves port, there's an increase in the number of suicidal ideations, and then they go down. And that is the trend they've seen on the Abraham Lincoln. I want to get your reaction to that as well.
That's interesting as a data point. I would love to see the actual math behind that metric. That's definitely interesting. I think one major point that seems lost on a lot of people is this is not just a story about a deployment being extended. It's not just about sailing towards 9 months of being deployed. It's that those sailors have not had their boots on the ground in any capacity since December 12th of last year, a short stop in Guam, and every day since then has been at sea. That is something that people can hardly understand. At 10 p.m. when taps is called, it goes dark, red lights only. You have watertight doors throughout. So the hallways are not only interior, you're opening and closing ×4 every time you go through a different hallway. There is a loss of time, sense of reality as far as what day it is, what's the weather like. A lot of the sailors don't see the sky on a regular day-to-day basis. These are the things that are hard to understand unless you have literally lived it. So when measuring the flow, the lulls, the highs of suicidal ideation, or measuring the last time there was an attempt, I'm not sure that we have full transparency in how those data points are constructed. And I can tell you, I cannot imagine a mother, a child, a spouse not being together for such a long time. I do know from Shelby Sanders that she's really struggling going into her senior year of high school. She hasn't got her homecoming dress. She was waiting for her mom to take her. She didn't do her senior pictures yet. And maybe these are first world privileges and ancillary luxuries, but she's 17 years old going into her senior year. We don't understand the level of resilience that military kids and military families have, but just because they have it doesn't mean they want it.
I think that's a really good point. And I also want to point out they did have a very brief stop in Dukem. They were limited to that area, but it was cut short because of the conflict escalating again. So they didn't get the time they thought they were going to have in July. And also to your point about some of them not seeing the sky, what I found interesting was that some of the enlisted sailors, they're not allowed on the air wing. They don't go on the air wing, which is where you see the flights take off and a lot of the action on the ship happens. So it was really interesting being on board, and I'm really glad that you both could come on to have this conversation to shed further light on the psychological toll on our service members out at sea on deployment. Thank you both.